This training module is for poll workers in Pennsylvania. In this module, you will learn about voter identification. This module is designed to supplement the training you receive from your local county election officials. The Department of State encourages you to attend the poll worker training offered by your county before every election. Do all voters have to show you identification in order to vote? No, all voters are not required to show you identification in order to vote. Only people who are voting for the first time in your precinct must have identification in order to vote. Please note that you should not ask every voter for their identification, because then they might think it is a requirement for voting and it is not. If someone offers to show you their ID, you may look at it to verify the spelling of their name. Someone who is voting for the first time in your precinct can include an 18-year-old voting for the very first time, naturalized U.S. citizens, and voters who have moved from outside the precinct are all examples of voters who are required to show ID. In 2012, Pennsylvania passed a law that would have required all voters to show photo identification at their polling place. This law was challenged in the courts. In 2014, the Commonwealth Court found that sections of the law were unconstitutional. Due to the court's decision, the sections of the law dealing with photo identification for all voters at the polling place never went into effect. This means that the previous rules are still in place. Only people who are voting at a polling place for the first time must show identification. What kind of identification must first-time voters have? First-time voters may present either photo identification or non-photo identification. The most common forms of ID include a driver's license and a voter registration card, but please note that there are many other forms of acceptable identification. There are 7 different forms of photo identification that first-time voters may present. They are a Pennsylvania driver's license or a Pennsylvania state photo identification card, ID issued by a Commonwealth agency, ID issued by the U.S. government, a U.S. passport, a U.S. Armed Forces ID, a student ID, and an employee ID. Here are 2 examples of valid forms of photo identification. The photo on the left is an example of a Pennsylvania driver's license. The photo on the right is an example of an employee ID card. There are 5 additional different forms of photo identification that first-time voters may present. Does Real ID impact voter ID requirements? Real ID is an additional form of acceptable identification. It is a federal requirement and does not impact Pennsylvania's voter identification requirements. There are 8 different forms of non-photo identification that first-time voters may present. They are a voter registration card issued by the County Voter Registration Office, non-photo ID issued by the U.S. government, non-photo ID issued by any Commonwealth agency, a firearm permit, a current utility bill, a current bank statement, a paycheck, or a government check. This is an example of a voter registration card, which is a valid form of non-photo identification. This is an example of a utility bill, which is another valid form of non-photo identification. Follow the steps and recommendations in this training, and you will provide a great service to your neighbors and fellow Pennsylvanians. Thank you for your service as a poll worker and your interest in voter identification. Elections in Pennsylvania would not be possible without your service. This concludes the training module on voter identification. Test your knowledge using the questions below.